In this video, I want to show you how to use large language models and AI voices to enrich NPCs in a Unity game. Specifically, I'm using OpenRouter in order to access various LLMs and ElevenLabs to give our NPCs a voice. The goal here isn't to build a completely AI-generated world, but to explore how LLMs can add personality and flexibility to non-player characters in a controlled, game-friendly way. I'll walk you through a small fantasy scene, show how the NPCs behave, briefly look at the Unity code that ties everything together, and show how you can access the demo online. This is a small fantasy scene that I put together as a test environment, and what you see here are two NPCs each standing next to their own house. Structurally, they are very similar, but the key difference is how their system prompt is set up and what voice they get from ElevenLabs. Each NPC has her own system prompt, which defines who they are, how they speak, and how they should respond to the player.
Hi, who are you?
Hello there. I'm Lissy, your friendly guide in this world. How can I assist you today on your adventure?
So one of them is more friendly and helpful.
Hi, who are you?
Ahoy! I'm Maddie, the fearless captain of the high seas. Got a thirst for adventure and treasure? Join my crew, and you'll share in the spoils of our daring escapades.
While the other one is following her own pirate agenda. The interesting part is, even though the interaction system is the same, the responses feel different. And each character can express a much richer personality. That gives you a lot of flexibility without exploding the amount of handcrafted dialogue. Here you can see my Unity scene, and this is a HTRP project. The play object includes some scripts. For example, a very central script is the check dialogue, where I check for the dialogue. So whenever the player approaches an NPC, we check whether we hit a friend, and if it's 2 meters, 2 Unity meters close to the player, this gets hit. So we have the distance, which is check radius, is 0.2, but I set it to 2 meters. And whenever we are approaching an NPC, we start the chat. So the current chat person is the hit collider game object, and then we also open the chat input field and output field. So this is the user interface. First we initiate it to an empty string, then we fill out certain parameters like getting the whole system message, getting the voice ID, the previous chat history, which starts empty, and whenever the player says something, this gets added to the user message, and whenever the NPC answers, this gets added to the assistant, so the assistant role in the history. And I will also show you how this chat message looks like, this object. And here you can see the toggle chat. So this opens the chat message, and whenever the escape key is pressed, we deactivate the chat message. Once the enter key is pressed, the message is confirmed, and whatever has been entered into the input box is then sent. So the input field is here. We retrieve the text, which is the message, and whenever it's a non-empty string, we send the message to ElevenLabs in order to get a voice for our player. And then we also post it via OpenRouter, and in order to get first the text answer from the NPC, And then later on, I will also show you how to trigger the text-to-speech for the NPC. And then the field is emptied. So now let's go over to the wrap OpenRouter request. So this is also part of the player object here in that case. So we have the check dialog, and here you see the check radius, which is set to 2 meters instead of 0.2, the voice ID for ElevenLabs, which gives our player the voice, certain other attributes for the chat interface, the user interface, and then you also see the OpenAI integration, the wrap OpenRouter request. So these are very central to this dialog system. Also the ElevenLabs script, which I also added into the repository. I had some inspiration from another repository and I just fixed some things. So also credits to the person, which I will also link in the description below. And then we have to add an audio source because I wanted to have the audio source being placed on the objects themselves. So for 3D sound, we can also see where the sound comes from. This is especially important for the NPCs. And now I want to show you the OpenAI integration. And this encapsulates the whole message system, the choices, the OpenAI response, the request, and certain other structures which we are using for the OpenAI integration. And here you can see, this is something that I will just quickly skim over. We have this post request, which we saw previously, and this has the URL, just a post request to, in this case, OpenAI GPT4-o. This is all inserted into a JSON string and posted as usual with the token. And then eventually, once we get a successful response, we download the text. And once we retrieve a successful response, we take the answer from the NPC, add it as an assistant role to the message history, and finally trigger the text-to-speech for the NPC as well. And the wrap OpenRouter is just a little wrapper for the OpenAI integration, which starts a coroutine on this object. And you see the ElevenLabs script, which I mostly took as it was, but I just corrected it for certain minor things. And I was quite happy about it. So credits to the author, which you also find in the descriptions. Then there is the ElevenLabs configurations. I have not added the token and so on. So this is something that you have to add inside of the game. Then we have the friend script, which is rather small. So we have the name of the NPC, the system message by default. We have you are friendly NPC in the Unity game and so on. And you will override it inside of the game by going to NPCs, taking anything, for example, this neighbor1, and this neighbor1 has the friend script. In that case, the neighbor is called Lissy. Let me go to Lissy. The system message is your friendly NPC in a Unity game, respond in a helpful way. And this is the ID. The chat history is empty, of course, in the beginning. And the second neighbor has a different name and also a different system message. You're a pirate girl and want to convince the player to join her crew, but you won't pay any money. Instead, you offer participation with a different voice ID. This is how the other neighbor is set up. This approach keeps the NPC logic very modular and makes it very easy to experiment with system messages, with different voices. As you see, you only need 2 attributes in order to have a very unique NPC. In my opinion, it already works quite well. So next thing is to create a new NPC, and I will show you how to do that in just a minute. So we are duplicating neighbor 1. Let's go to neighbor 1. We just press Ctrl D. Take this as crazy neighbor and put it next to it. Just quickly rotate the neighbor. So now we have 2. And in this case, I just need to replace the voice ID with this one, which gives her a way different voice. And I also replace the prompt by taking this one. You are an unfriendly and crazy NPC in a Unity game. And I will also quickly show you how to select the voices in ElevenLabs. All right, so when you open ElevenLabs, you have to go to Voices. And here you can see that you only have 3 slots available. So whenever you start this and you take the ElevenLabs token, you can only make use of those 3. And in my case, I was just searching for Grantpa Georg. And I have to add him to my voices. And also copy the voice ID. This is the exact voice ID that I just showed you. But before I can add him to the game, I just have to remove one of those. In that case, I will delete Brittney, delete this voice, and Grantpa Georg, and just quickly add this voice. Copy the voice ID. This should be exactly this one, yes. All right. And now we can start the game. Now, first things first, I have to add the OpenRouter token. Then add the ElevenLabs token. Save it. Walk to the NPC. Hi, who are you?
Hi, who are you?
Oh, what a keen observer you are! I'm Lissy, the one you're least interested in messing with, I reckon. Now, scuttle away before your curiosity turns into regret.
Alright, as you see, a way different experience with this NPC. If you want to try this yourself, the game can also be accessed within any browser via play.unity.com, link in the description. So the only thing that you'd need here is the OpenRouter token and the ElevenLabs token. And as I said before, you may have to add the ElevenLabs voice ID to your collection of 3 voices, which are available for free. For OpenRouter, you may have to add some credits because I'm using OpenAI 04. But for ElevenLabs, you just go with a free account and you're good to go. And the ElevenLabs script is based on a C# script from this repository, Superman Space ElevenLabs, which made it significantly easier for me to integrate it into the game. And I just had to make some minor adjustments in order to make this work. My own GitHub repository is also publicly available with all the scripts that I mentioned before. So just check it out and see whether you want to use it in your own projects. Overall, this setup isn't about replacing traditional storytelling, but about extending it. LLM enhanced NPCs can add reactivity and variation, especially in early prototypes or experimental projects. In those phases, you can already get a first feeling about how to set the stage for the player and what roles the NPCs could play in your story. If you're interested in AI-driven characters in Unity, I hope this gives you a useful starting point. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.